Good afternoon, or good morning, rather. One quick thing, we've actually adjusted the title. So I'll share with you that best laid plans are always... Gotcha. Okay, best laid plans. But we're going to talk about empowering tech for social impact, where we'll talk about 3D and the metaverse, as well as artificial intelligence and generative AI. So with that, I'm going to ask the panelists to come forward. We have Elizabeth Nganzi. We have Liz Daly. We have Trisha Blake. And we have Milan Kordestani.
Yeah.
And one of the things you know about this panel is we took a real problem. Yesterday, there were some changes unexpectedly, so we actually merged two panels. So we had a problem. The problem was, how do we merge the two panels so it makes sense and it aligns? So we got together this morning and we used artificial intelligence to solve the problem. So what we did as a group, we actually entered everyone's bio, we entered a question about what are the best 4 questions we should ask for the panel. So the questions that we're going to use today were generated by AI for this panel. And we wanted to do that to really demonstrate that we should embrace technology. Okay, so with that, I'm going to ask each panelist to introduce themselves. They have 2 minutes to give a little background on who they are. Quickly, again, I'm Filbert. I'm with the Jackie Robinson Foundation. I head up community engagement, partnerships, and communications for the foundation and the Jackie Robinson Museum. Liz?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you very much, Ivo, for inviting me, and congratulations, Clayton, and your team. I'm Liz Nganzi, the other Liz, and I'm very excited to be here with you today speaking about something I love quite a bit. It's technology for social impact. I am an adjunct assistant professor at New York University, where I teach digital storytelling powered by generative AI. Basically trying to help people who raise money for good causes to be able to do so more effectively using the power of generative AI in such a way that they can save money, create better content to engage their donors, as well as to just tell better stories online. So that's my function at NYU. I'm also the founder of the International Social Impact Institute, where we do that for organizations around the world.
Awesome, thank you. Liz?
Hi everyone, good morning. Oh, so nice. My name is Liz Daly, and I am the co-founder and executive director of a new Philadelphia area nonprofit called Create Access. We exist to provide on-ramps to the field of 3D creation for beginners. So our focus is on people who have limited previous exposure to the field, who maybe have never touched 3D technology before, but who we think might find a home there if they had the opportunity to get their hands on it, to build some curiosity, build some confidence, give it a try. And so our whole purpose is to help people enter into the field of 3D by getting them started with tools like I mentioned, Unreal Engine. So we build educational micro courses that provide lots of scaffolding to help young learners get started with 3D. And I'm just so excited to be here today. Thank you so much to Clayton and Roxanne, everyone here for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Great.
Great day, everyone. My name is Trisha Blake, and I am all the way from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Yes, louder. Thank you. Super excited to be here. I am the CEO and founder of My Third Bloom. Just in terms of my own story, I am using the metaverse to serve the underserved. And My Third Bloom is an online community for women going through perimenopause and menopause, and just being able to provide access and resources and support using immersive technologies. So it's almost a case study of how you can, utilize this, these technologies and the potential behind it. I am a joy seeker, change maker, and my most famous one is I call myself the rich auntie in the metaverse.
Hello, my name is Milan Kordestani. I'm from the Bay Area, Silicon Valley. I grew up I live now in Los Angeles. And I've been building startups since 2017. I now operate a venture studio where I co-found and invest in startups that are focused on social impact in various industries. And I'm also a writer, and I publish what I am learning through tech and creating conversations around some of the difficult challenges that we have in technology, getting people to understand the tech and see it as a solution for challenges that we have in society rather than a problem. So all about AI for good.
Yes.
Awesome. As you can see, we have a various student panels from different backgrounds, and we're going to jump right into the question because we want you to see what AI produced. So the first question goes to Liz and Ganzi. Liz, you've been at the forefront of leveraging technology for social impact since 2004. Can you share an example of a transformative initiative or project that effectively utilized technology to drive positive societal change, and how can the lessons from that experience be applied to the emerging technologies like generative AI and the metaverse?
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you, ChatGPT, for that question. So the example I'm going to use is from an organization based in Uganda. The name of it is Barefoot Law. It was started by a young man, a young attorney, who basically said, while he was waiting to sit at the bar in Uganda, he set up a Facebook page to have people who needed to help understanding what the law was and their legal rights to be able to ask questions and he responded to them. So that's how it started. Fast forward 10 years later, it's turned into Barefoot Law. And the organization provides basic legal aid services the same way we would have them here. But what they've added to it is they have 10 attorneys who provide the legal services, but anyone can send a text message, they can post on Facebook any questions they have, saying, look, I'm having a problem with land dispute, or I'm having some kind of domestic dispute. And it goes through Mindy, this AI, that basically determines the language the person's writing in, if it's in English, the level of English, and then it suggests like a response that the attorney will then verify to be able to determine that it's a correct response, and then send the response back in the language that makes sense to that person. So let's say it's 4th grade English that they wrote in, that's what the answer will be generated. And why that's so important is because if you think about people who typically are left out of this equation, whose rights are violated all the time, it's now providing them service in a form that makes sense to them. And I was actually with them recently in Uganda, and what they told me was, prior to having this AI, they were able to, each attorney was able to work on 10 cases a day. They're now able to process at least 100 a day. So that's a lot more than So I think that's a very important tool.
True impact of AI.
Yeah, truly.
Awesome. Okay, the next question, I'm going to jump down to the end. It's going to be for Milan. Milan, your work as a social entrepreneur and author focuses on finding common ground solutions to systemic socioeconomic problems. In the context of the metaverse and 3D technology, how can these tools be harnessed to address some of the systemic issues you've highlighted in your writing, such as civil discourse and conscious capitalism?
Sure. So I'll talk about one of the startups I co-founded. In college, I co-founded this startup called Auto, and the focus was helping people find jobs. And we started out with college students, but eventually we realized college was actually part of the problem. It puts people in debt and doesn't give them tangible skills in the workplace. So what we've been doing is using AI to help people map their career path for them based on their career aspirations, based on their financial constraints, and based off of their personality and even their dream job. And we've been working with tons of nonprofits. One of them particularly is working with incarcerated inmates and individuals in the prison system to help them understand what that career path looks like for them, what are the courses they need to take to be valuable when they come out, to recognize what skills they had when they went in there, what they could have actually practiced while they were locked up that could be highlighted on a resume better. And we think of it like Google Maps. Like Google Maps will provide you different options of routes, some that are scenic, some that are based on the most optimal time to get there, and several different factors. We like to provide options so people can see what is the career path that will best service my goals, my needs, and the career I want to work towards. So that's a startup called Auto, and that's one of the applications of how we use AI to basically generate career paths based on all those different inputs that you give it.
And that is so important, thank you, because we know that the educational landscape is changing and the need for skills. Not everyone needs to be in college, so many of the tech firms are realizing that and they're looking for specific skills versus having a college degree, so thank you for that. Trish, next question is yours. With your passion focused on immersive technology, how do you think new immersive technologies like virtual reality, augmented reality, and AI can improve collaboration among organizations to drive positive social changes?
Wow, thank you, ChatGPT. That's a great question. So ChatGPT didn't give me the answer, just so you know. We didn't ask. I didn't ask him the answer. Honestly, just in terms of having a level, I think it takes it to another level in terms of platform. So you have these immersive technologies that can help to amplify our voices. That is so important when it comes to accessibility and inclusivity as well, like making sure that all of these immersive technologies, all our communities can access it. We all have, access, we should all have access to internet. That's next level as well, like everything, being at the tip of your fingers. I think there's a statistic that there's 7 billion 3D enabled phones in the world. So at your fingertips right now, you have the ability to tap into, the metaverse, immersive tech. There's even AI, on your phones. Like all of that is there, collaborating with, policymakers, cities, educational institutions. This is all at your fingertips. You have these computers at home. It's next. Honestly, I just think it's next level. And personally, I was saying for my introduction, as I say, I'm a non-techie that loves tech. So I'm part of a nerd club, and I'm using it because I'm curious. I'm insatiably curious about the technologies and the possibilities that it can do, from education, wellness. You name it, it can really help, and it can, serve the underserved and definitely empower us.
That's really important. And we have all of this at our fingertips, which is why the work of Silicon Harlem is so critical, right? Because they're making sure that everyone has access to all of this. So, thank you for the work that you do. Liz Daly, your question. As a co-founder of Create Access, you work on helping people from underserved communities enter careers in emerging tech fields using 3D technology. Can you explain how this technology can make education more accessible and what obstacles we need to overcome to make this happen?
Absolutely, thanks for the question. I and ChatGPT.
Thanks, GPT.
So one of the things that's so exciting about where 3D is right now is that so many of the tools that are out there are freely available or free to get started, and they don't require you to know how to code, right? And so I don't know if anyone's ever tried anything new in this room. Raise your hand if you ever tried something new, right? It can be a little scary, but what's so interesting is that with so many of these tools, once you get started, the curiosity and the innovation kind of builds upon itself, right? So I remember I'm like Trisha, a non-techie who loves tech, right? And I don't know if I can say that in this room, but I'm a social worker by training. And the first time I touched the Unreal Editor for Fortnite, which is a tool that integrates Unreal Engine with the Fortnite game, I was so intimidated. I saw this suite of tools, all these buttons, all these drop-downs. But as I got started, the first thing I did in Unreal Editor for Fortnite when I was trying to think about how to engage beginner learners was I imported a photogrammetry model of a little statue I had in my house. I had made the model by taking pictures with my phone, so again, no code, I took photos. And then I learned how to import it into a 3D experience in the Unreal Editor. And just being able to do that, I was so proud of myself. I felt so powerful. Thank you. And I think that's one of the things that's so exciting about this new technology is that there's so much you can do if you're just willing to get started and click a few buttons and try a few drop-downs, make a few mistakes, right? And I think that when we think about education, I think it's so important to create spaces where experimentation and play and innovation are really encouraged. And with that, of course, comes making mistakes and stumbling and things not going exactly the way you want, especially when you're working with new technology, right? But all of that, I think, really can make the world of technology more accessible. And so when we build our educational materials with educators and student creators actually, because we really want to make sure that what we're doing is accessible, it's beginner friendly, and it's helping people create projects that are interesting to them. Because again, that's going to be the thing that gets those wheels turning, right? They get their hands in it, that spark is ignited, and then people are naturally curious, right? All of you said you tried something new. I bet at some point your natural curiosity kicked in and you started exploring on your own. And so when we talk about our model of exposure education, we really want to give people the opportunity to just find that curiosity in themselves and get over that initial hump of fear. That moment of like, oh my gosh, I can't possibly create in 3D, I'm not a techie, look at all these buttons. Get through that so that you can see the possibilities, the creative possibilities of yourself. And I do need to speak a little bit about the economic opportunity in the field, right? So Create Access is a nonprofit. Our focus is on actually helping boost socioeconomic mobility by helping people connect to the field of 3D creation. And there is just such immense demand in industry right now, growth in this field for people to be working and creating in 3D spaces, creating 3D experiences across disciplines. Tricia, you mentioned that we think about medicine, we think about fashion, we think about real estate, all these different areas where 3D creation skills can be of benefit, right? Especially as the internet is increasingly, and computing is increasingly moving towards 3D. And so we think that by helping people who have limited previous exposure to engage in these fields, we can really have an impact on economic mobility.
And really, we know that technology, really, if we embrace technology the way we should, it creates all that for all of us. So imagine those young kids that you work with and their excitement and their increasing their level of curiosity because of the conference at that point. Okay, Liz, yeah, we have two Liz's on the panel. You know, you talked a bit earlier about the job search, right, and how this is. So give a little insight to what you're telling me.
Sure. So first of all, the reason why my life changed on January 4th, 2023. It was the first time I tried ChatGPT, and I kept playing with it and said, oh my goodness, this is a real game changer. And yes, I'm a techie, but I'm not just, it's not about technology for the sake of technology. What it showed me was that it could really help people to shortcut a lot of things they're trying to do. So for instance, let's say if you're looking for a job, which many of us would, or maybe you're looking for an investment company or whatever it may be. You literally can put into ChatGPT the description, the job description, and then you put your resume in there as well and say, hey, can you tailor my resume to this particular job description of the key words as people? And first of all, that saves you a lot of time because you're like, you try to work on a resume, it takes forever. It can clean it up, it can create a much higher quality resume, and it also helps generate the cover letter for you. So that what that does is increase the likelihood of your being selected for that job interview. And when you finally do go for the job interview, you can actually even have it look through some of the content from the organization's website and have it generate some questions that they might ask you or questions you can ask during the interview. So that you go in a lot smarter, a lot more well prepared than if you were trying to do this on your own. And it takes a lot less time than you trying to do this on your own. So I love that it's saving time, it's helping you to be a lot more effective in whatever you're doing.
Embracing technology. Tricia, I know that for you, 3D and metaverse and education, and making sure that we impact how this is being taught in school. Tell us a bit about your thoughts around that.
We need to start. No, we really need to empower our educators. We need to teach the teachers, and that can come from in terms of like if there's mentorship, development programs, really have it as part of the core curriculum. If from Liz's company where you're creating 3D. Those teachers can, easily use these tools that are out there. But in order to use the tools, you need to be aware. You have to, I think, starting from the ground, it's building awareness and understanding and what that means, what that is, what are the benefits, how can it be used, what are the different use cases as it relates to the type of curriculum we can create, the type of experiences, adapting for learning styles and abilities. All of those things are definitely possible. The other thing I want to say is that I get paid to be a change practitioner at the City of Toronto, and it's about making change comfortable for people. And when I said about awareness and understanding, starting within the community, often in my work as it relates to development in Toronto, it's 3 C's, community, collaboration and communication, culture. You can make 4 C's. But really awareness, understanding, teach the teachers, really, focus on that, develop programs, advocate for that, et cetera.
Awesome, thank you. Milan, I have a question for you. Your work is so intriguing to me, especially the work that you're doing around those who are incarcerated and how you use technology to do that. Expand a little bit more on that, because one of my previous jobs, I worked for a tech firm for a couple of years. And we actually had a program where we were actually engaging formerly incarcerated individuals in the tech space. So tell me a bit more about your thoughts on that.
Sure. So it's a complex problem. There's maybe 2 nonprofits that exist in the United States that have computers inside of the prison system, and of those, only one of them services them with internet access. So the challenge is multifold. It's one, a lot of individuals have been incarcerated long enough, many of them haven't had access to the internet, don't even know of a time of that. So it's getting a laptop in their hands so that they can even just start learning how to type. And then beyond that, what we do with Auto is we really simplify the process of learning to make it interesting and to actually motivate people, because we tie education to career outcome and money that you can make. And that is the ultimate motivator in that ecosystem, is how much money can I make? And that's true of individuals who are incarcerated, it's true of immigrants that we work with from nonprofits, and it's true of Gen Z college students. It's the greatest motivator, making money. So from that, we kind of reverse engineer what your curriculum needs to look like. And we've partnered with Coursera, edX, Allison Learning. We're trying to get as many as we can, like Masterclass and Outlier and so on. But basically, the idea is that we use AI to tailor the curriculum that's best to you based on your ideal outcome. And so what that could mean is saying that if you want to get into the tech space and you've never been in tech before, we will offer those, introductory courses. They could even be like English courses to start if you're not a strong English speaker, and slowly we'll increase to saying, okay, here's a course that's created by IBM, and here's a course that's created by Meta, and together, all of these come together to create your software engineer level 1. And we give you a certificate for that, and we start to match you to career opportunities. The career opportunity part, unfortunately, we can't offer inside of the prison system yet. They won't allow us to because it's connected to the internet, but we're working on it to get them what we can with what they allow.
Awesome, I love it. Liz, Ann, I'll come back to you because you shared a story with me around, I would say, a mammogram? Okay. Because one of the things we want to demonstrate is how technology from social impact perspective is making a difference, right? We're talking about education, we're talking about health, we're talking about employment. Hopefully we'll find something around finance shortly. But social impact and access. But I need to share a story about getting mammograms. So can you quickly share?
So, like many women, I went for a mammogram earlier this year, and they had a sign that said, "Hey, the practitioner said to me, would you like to pay an upgrade for an AI to read it?" And I was like, "Heck yeah!" Right? Because here's the thing: it's not that I doubt the doctor, but there's something about the patterns that an AI can see over the 5 years or so that I've been getting a mammogram that a human eye can't detect. And I was like, if I can have that in conjunction with a doctor, I'm good, or whoever it is that's reading it. And so I paid for it. So think about if you think about just the different kinds of applications that are out there, whether it's cancer detection or whatever it may be, it can really literally save lives because it sees patterns, right? In the same way that we as human beings may be biased, it sees things we can't. So that's why I think it's exciting. But I don't think it's ready for it to just be on its own. It definitely needs human intervention.
And that's the thing about this, right? When we talk about education and we talk about AI and how scared we might be of AI, there are humans behind AI. So we have to teach our young people to learn the skills around AI. That's important.
Yeah.
Okay? So we want to be sensitive to time. We'll come back to more questions, but I want to open it up for questions from the audience. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my phone, I don't talk very loud. They can share.
We can.
Hi, my name is Adrian Miranda. I work in immersive technologies. I work in Unreal Engine. I do virtual reality. I'm also a doctor of physical therapy. And we're talking about high-speed internet and the speed of things. And that's my question. So my question is, how do you move the needle faster? And by that I mean, we're talking about internet right now. And I grew up in Washington Heights. This wasn't even an idea when I was a kid in the 90s. And so I learned on YouTube University, as one of the teenagers said, all of my video, 3D immersive, Unreal Engine, Unity, Blender. And what I noticed is that we're always playing catch up in these communities. And so when one of us gets out, we get a job at Google. For example, my older brother, he's in San Jose, living a good life. So we lose those jobs in other communities. And it's always about, we're always playing catch up. So how do we get us to move much faster? Because we're getting excited about internet at Crystal's NYCHA housing. How do we get a Quest 3 or an Apple Vision Pro into the housing rather than internet? And then at the same time, how do we keep those jobs? Because they leave these communities and then it's another vicious cycle. So how do we speed that up? And if we get access to these immersive technologies, like Unreal Engine is free. Don't get me wrong, it's great, but the GPU computer that you get, a kid is probably not getting that device. That's a $2,000 to $3,000 gaming GPU. They're not getting high-speed internet because Unreal Engine glitches out and it has to be connected. The assets that you need to build games or any virtual productions are insanely, well, they add up. They're like $2, $5, and then they add up so you need 30 of them. So how do we keep the jobs here? How do we move it much, much faster so in 10 years, we're not excited about VR headsets anymore?
I can give it my own quick answer. We support organizations like Silicon Hall.
Yeah.
You go right. You got that right.
Okay.
You got that right.
And second of all,
Come on over with me, buddy.
yeah,
I got you.
yeah, and if we teach our kids in this community, corporations will come to this community to fight us. Okay, so anybody in the panel want to add to that?
I love what you said. Also, working with the government, your government officials, prioritizing investments in the communities is critical. Prioritizing innovation. You know, if you create the jobs here, people will stay. They're leaving to go elsewhere. There's also the opportunity of all of those game engines that are operating on these faster things, they'll evolve. You know, perhaps the people within our own communities are the ones that will create the things that you don't need that. Just like how, you know, you don't necessarily need to have a virtual reality headset to experience an immersive experience. You know, there's opportunities for that to evolve within 10 years as well. And that can be built, you know, with the youth, you know, and the people here in community.
We have a question right over here.
Wait, Craig, hold on one
Can I
second.
just add one thing to that? And this is controversial, but you know what? I know that a lot of young people are buying $600 speakers. Let them learn that the value of this technology for the future versus this.
That's a whole other panel discussion.
The creator versus the consumer.
Started. Every tool requires infinite processing power, right? So we're talking about things like Unreal Engine, Unity, which would certainly require a pretty sophisticated machine, although the tools themselves are free to use. But there are, you know, like photogrammetry applications, blenders of
Okay, no, we gotta move.
I'm sorry.
We gotta move forward. Next.
All a good point. I wish I was on that.
We're gonna have a whole other panel on this thing.
Good afternoon to the panel. As myself, I was a first flight person that flew a plane, and the technology as engineers that they made planes to sit up in the air. And even when I went through the tablet machine and they looked through my body, I mean, when can the hospitals do that. Also, when you were saying about the breast cancer, you said about menopause, when are the hospital is going to get that technology that you're looking at me in this kind of way, coming onto a plane, and you seeing all what I have on, and I don't know if they're looking at my skin, I'm just saying.
The technology is out there.
Yeah, so the technology exists. The challenge is access. Okay? And again, Silicon Hall is working around access.
Do you mind if I'd love,
You can send my check later on.
I'd love to add to that. The one other element that actually gets in the way of these technologies getting into hospitals and becoming accessible is regulation, and especially the FDA. So if you know anyone that is in the FDA or is a politician or lobbyist or so on, it's important to push them to actually get these technologies out into these hospitals, because it's a lot easier for the lobbyists, for the pharmaceutical industries to win the upper hand and be like, no, we don't need to scan people for that. That scan's too expensive for preventative medicine. We'd rather, give people pills. So
Otherwise, that is one thing, because it's another panel discussion.
We come back next year. We'll come back.
All of these issues comes down to the political landscape.
Yeah.
And if we are not engaged politically, we're not able to influence. Next question, please.
Here we go.
Okay, hi, I'm Charles Powell. Just wondered if you could talk a little bit about, I'm an attorney, so I read about the case in the United States District Court where the attorney submitted a brief in a case that was created by ChatGPT. And it had all of these, cases in there that actually didn't exist. And as a result, he almost lost his law license. Can you talk a little bit about some of that flip side, man? When you say mammogram, with AI reading, the results versus a well-established physician, what are the pitfalls of that, that search, occurring in that manner?
Okay, that's a great question.
You can tell he's an attorney.
There are two different issues. So we're talking about ChatGPT, right? Something that's publicly available, that's been trained on information in the public, right? And as a general purpose. I don't trust it, because ChatGPT lies. So let me tell you that. So let's start with it lies. I will give it information, like let's say I'll have someone write an email to me and I'll say, can you help me respond to this in a they're kind of working my nerves, but I want you to make this diplomatic, so it can help with that. But in terms of saying, hey, can you give me research about blah, 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 it makes up websites, it makes up information. So it's really good if you already have an understanding of what it is you want it to generate, rather than fully believing it. That's where I start. With the AI that we're talking about in the hospital, that was trained on specific data. So that's for a specific purpose, so it's different. So I would trust it, like I said, needs human intervention. So that's the difference. But ChatGPT will make up stuff.
All right, well, we got two final questions and then wrap it up.
Roxanne, Blaine, Clayton, okay?
Oh, that's cold-blooded. So we're gonna do one right here.
You had mentioned the political landscape, and I thought that was so interesting because I'm interpreting AI as like the old analogy, it's fire. It can heat your home or it can burn it down. So you said human intervention. Now, one of the other panelists mentioned, I forgot how we phrased it, but related to the skill sets you've been getting paid for. I forgot the term. We said everything has a price, I think. The political landscape. We're all looking through, capitalism right now. So at this point, everything does have a price on it. So, and not to get, again, another panel, but what responsibility do we have to connect AI to some of the traumas that humankind is going through that may not have a big dollar value to it? How we connect it to improving the human condition?
So someone in here earlier mentioned that their family member moved to the Silicon Valley to go work at Google when they were able to. And that's great, because he's obviously successful, going to make money. But what that does is he's now going to solve someone else's problem for someone else. And what he's not doing is building a startup or building a solution to a problem that exists in his community. And that's really what we have to start to cultivate in the next generation, is this mindset that you're not just going going to go get a check and get out of here. It's like you can make a check by solving problems for your community, and you can own that, and you can bring people from your community in to help solve those problems, and they don't have to be nonprofits. And you don't even, the barrier is getting lower and lower every day because of AI. It used to be that you had to be an engineer to be able to create an app, and you needed to get funding to do it. Now, as a one-person man, if you know how to use ChatGPT and AI, you can speak language to it, and it generates code for you. It's incredible. And I imagine that within the year, you'll be able to speak what an app design should look like, the function and so on, and it'll create that. One example I'll give is a friend of mine created this company called donotpay.com, where they use AI in the legal system, but not to go in court per se and fight, but for you to be able to go around and quickly navigate the bureaucracy that exists within the legal system. So when you get a ticket, you can instantly fight it using AI just by giving it the information, and you have like a 50% likelihood oftentimes of getting out of a ticket. You otherwise wouldn't have even known that.
Okay, we do have to move for the last.
Sorry.
Thank you, Milan.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sochan. I teach at a community college in the Caribbean. The pandemic forced me to make the transition from traditional teaching to online education. I know that technology is ubiquitous, and now we have ChatGPT and so on. But I am really worried and, how to put it, confused as how to ensure my students develop critical analytical thinking skills to be able to navigate world problems, real world problems, and not just in the metaverse. And you know, I'm even more concerned when I evaluate their work and I'm not sure whether ChatGPT is generating this or what. So any advice on how we can get the balance between proper analytical skill development as well as how to utilize the tremendous potential that technology offers?
Hold on. Before you say that, we're going to take a quick 10-second interval to add to that, and then
just one quick point on using AI and ChatGPT. One word: iterate. Over and over and over again, and keep using it, whether you're writing code, test everything, put it through your own filters, iterate over and over and over again, then you'll get something that's probably better you would have come up with in the first place.
Good. I will wrap it up for us.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have to wrap it up. But let's give the panel a round of applause.
Dang, we didn't answer that question.
And then we can sit here all day long and great conversation. Thank you to the audience for being engaging. Please tell us a round of applause.
Should go up to him.
And we do want to thank ChatGPT. But we really want to...
It creates great poetry.
It does. We really want to demonstrate in this panel how we can embrace technology. But again, trust and verify everything, right? So that's what we're doing AI. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
And thank you to Silicon Valley and playing some great work that you do.
Thank you, Abo. Thank you all.